Hey everybody, and welcome to the intersection of sports and marketing. I'm Cristiano, and this is episode 23 of OUTOFSCOPE, why influencers might be bad for your brand. All you marketers out there need to listen to this.
Sports marketing expert Cristiano.
Cristiano.
Marketers and advertisers and brands always have to keep in mind, you have to play to the state of your audience. Endurance sports athletes are absolutely fanatics.
Having a Facebook page doesn't get you any business, but doing it right can be quite effective.
It's been a crazy couple of weeks. Still trying to do the bike racing thing too. It's kind of insane, working 16, 18-hour days, a bachelor party, planning a wedding, all that stuff does not really lend itself to also progressing as an endurance athlete. It's really tough. But so I've done a bunch of races recently, got my ass kicked in most of them. Last night, I did a race, Pro 123 field here, Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn, and finally felt awesome. Had some moves, didn't place, but got one of my teammates up in the top 10, which was exciting. So there's still hope. I have a stage race coming up this weekend near Penn State. It's going to be brutal, but I'm looking forward to it. So I guess we can kind of get into the topic of the show, which is why brand influencers, or why influencers can be bad for your brand. That sounds so damn counterintuitive, but here's why. And this comes up because this has been brought up to me recently in conversation about trying to bring in brand influencers to a specific brand for a very much younger demographic, and trying to have them, intertwine a brand, create content, etc. In theory, it's great, and it could be great, but I kind of played devil's advocate, and I very much afterwards feel strongly about this now that I think about it and taking some time away from that conversation. Influencers can be super bad to a brand unless the brand can find a genuine way to integrate that influencer. And when I say influencer, I mean people that have large audiences on YouTube, people that have large audiences on podcasts, Vine, big audiences on Vine, Instagram, whatever it might be. Just some sort of platform where they create content or stories or videos or whatever it might be, and they have tons of people that follow them and watch them and interact with them. Brands, of course, want to interact with them and have their brand as part of whatever their show might be or their, creative thing might be. But the issue and the danger is, if it's not genuine, it's not authentic, and it even remotely feels like it's forced, that entire audience is going to see through that garbage in a second. Especially because most of these influencers and most of the people that want to get influencers are trying to reach a younger demographic, whether it's millennials, but it's specifically now teens and even younger. And that part of our community, of our society, they see through that crap in 2 seconds. If they know that this person they've been watching for the last year, 6 months, 2 weeks, all of a sudden changes the whole thing and is talking about this brand incessantly, they know that it was paid for. They know that it's BS, and they're not going to connect with that. They're just going to say, oh, this is ridiculous. This person sold out. Or they're going to say, this brand is ridiculous. Why are they trying to force this crap down our throats? They don't want to feel like they're being marketed to. How do you avoid that? There's two ways, I think. One is just don't do it. Don't involve yourself with brand influencers unless it's natural. If they're naturally talking about it, then you know what? Get in the conversation. That's great. Be a part of it. But don't just go and try to find who are the top 10 people on YouTube and pay them a bunch of money to stick your brand in there. That's how you fail instantly. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money. But how you can do it right is to make sure that whatever that person's story is, whatever that person's show is, whatever that person's YouTube channel or Vine videos or Instagram pictures or videos might be, find a way to incorporate into it organically and naturally, and don't hide the fact that your brand is now a part of or is paying for this influencer's content. Because you know what? If you try to hide it and just all of a sudden there's a logo in every fourth shot of the show for the next 3 weeks, people will notice, and they're not going to notice it in a good way. They're going to call BS. The way to do it is to just be honest and say, hey, you know, we just got a sponsorship from XYZ brand, and you know they're helping pay to do the show. It's people know that content takes time, money, and energy to produce and to create and to put it out there. And the people that do it well take a lot of energy and time and sometimes money to make that happen. And no one, young, old, or anyone else, thinks that it's a bad thing that a brand pays money to help execute that and make it happen. If the brand is saying, hey, you know what, we're sponsoring the show, and the influencer says, hey, this company is sponsoring the show, and you know they're helping us to make it happen, and you know buy their product, it's really awesome, I actually genuinely like it, but just so you know they're paying to make this happen, then everyone knows that it's real, everyone's fine with it, everyone's okay with it, no one feels bad about the influencer because they know that it takes a lot of energy, time, and money to put it on. No one feels bad about the brand because the brand is being honest and totally straightforward that that's what they're doing. But then if you can then also intertwine it in a way that feels organic and natural, so it doesn't come out of left field. You know, if you're talking about, if you're a swimmer and you have a video blog on swimming, and then all of a sudden you're talking about, yeah, I don't know, you're talking about how awesome this car is, it's going to feel like it's totally out of left field. But if there's some sort of brand that is swimming related and they're sponsoring the show, and this person or this girl or whoever says that, hey, this swimming brand or clothing, swimming apparel brand is now sponsoring the show, FYI, check them out. A great example of that is Tim Ferriss, actually. He has sponsors for his podcast, and he talks about them right up front in the show, says who they are, what they are, why they're sponsoring the show, and that they're sponsors to help put on the show. Everyone's totally fine with that, and I've seen some of the case studies from Tim Ferriss that shows how, because he has such an amazing audience, such a deep following, that it actually improves sales or engagement for those brands. He's not pretending to like stuff because he's, you know, getting money for it. He straight up, right in the front of the show, says what it is, says that they're a sponsor. Those sponsors still win. It's like an advertisement. They still win. They get huge engagement. His fans, his listeners, myself included, don't feel bombarded by it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yep, this person's paying for this episode now. That's great. And most of the brands, or almost all of the brands, relate to the audience that he has. That's the key. So if you can follow that formula, you can be super successful. But don't just go out and try to find some influencers and pay them X amount of dollars to incorporate your brand. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. You're not going to get any brand equity. You're going to turn people away. So let me know. Have you seen anything out there that has either struck you as really well done from an influencer sponsorship perspective? And have you seen anything out there that has been really poorly executed? I'd love to hear about it. Anyway, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching episode 23. Take care. Kyle, where'd I get that one from? Oh, his fucking door's closed. There's your thing.